What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
When you look at Kelvin Benjamin, guys, he's 6'5", he's 245 pounds. He's probably a Popeye's biscuit away from being a tight end.
It's not the Dallas Cowboys, but it's a start.
You love this. Whoop, and then whoop, and then whoop.
Oh, the Denver Broncos.
Now stay tuned for 6 hours of exciting football action.
Bears trying to cross midfield.
This week we're going to talk about the AFC South right here on the Straight Off the Couch podcast. Adam's going to help me break it all down for you. Matter of fact, I'm just going to rely on Adam for all the information because my brain is oatmeal. Hit it.
They call him the Galloping Gazelle. His habitat the frozen tundra of Soldier Field. For 6 seasons and 2 Pro Bowls, he grazed on the tasty green turf of the end zone. Until one fateful Sunday in November, when the Gazelle was stopped in his tracks by mechanic Wade Krzyzewski.
Want to come with me and Wally to the Super Bowl?
Oh, absolutely. My favorite team's in it. The Atlanta Falcons.
I'm exhausted.
Straight off the couch.
That's right. It is Straight Off the Couch. It is March 24th already. Holy cow. Before we get too much further, though, let me bring in my broadcast partner, the ever affable and effervescent Adam Whitehall. Hey, Adam, how's it going, brother?
Oh, it's good, Terry. How you doing?
Dude, I don't know what the hell's going on. I've been so beat the last 3 days, like I ran a marathon tired or something, you know?
So I went through my post daylight savings time adjustment, and it takes me roughly about a week to get back on program. Like something's just off with me. It's almost like I feel sick, but I'm not sick. It's just something like a little bit of a lag. I'm missing a step. And for this year, for some reason, it took me almost 2 weeks to get past that. And I was tired all last week, and now the sun's shining, and I feel like Superman. I'm energized, you know?
Well, it cooled off here. The boys across the street, who I'm really close with, my Gabers. The Gabers. Went over there Friday night, had a couple of drinks with them, and he go, come over tomorrow night. We're going to be in the garage. They've got a really cool garage set up, you know. They've got a full-on wet bar in there and a big screen TV, and they needed more noise, so I sold them my Mackie SRM 350s.
There you go.
They got
a wet bar in the garage?
Oh, yeah. They've got it decked out, dude. It's sweet.
Nice.
And
nice.
They're like, so you coming over tomorrow night, right? And I go, yeah, I'll come over tomorrow night. And then last night at like 7 o'clock when I was going to walk across the street, next thing I know, it's 11, and I'm passed out on the couch. I've been asleep since God knows when. I
have a neighbor across the road kind of like that too. We hang out in his garage. It's not nice. Like it's just a concrete floor, and I don't even think it has insulation in the damn walls.
No,
like,
this one's heated.
It's just completely unfinished.
Yeah, this one's heated and air conditioned. And
but he calls me his Gaber because of the long hair. So I guess that's a common term.
Well, I thought I coined it, but I guess not. So damn it.
No, it's yeah. It happens sometimes. I thought I coined a bunch of terms, and then people started using them, and I was just like, I guess it's not that original.
But I couldn't believe it. I mean, I don't know when I fell asleep. I don't know where those 4 hours went. I went right to bed and slept till 8:30 this morning. I mean, I've been wiped this week.
Yeah, the body's just recharging. So you're just putting it all on me this week, are you? For all the stats you need?
No, I'm a pro. I'll do the best I can to keep up with you. You know.
I've got all the information. I like to start taking notes midweek when things start happening, and I always check on the day of for the salary cap because I noticed it changed again.
Probably, yeah, because they do a lot of stuff overnight and what have you. I think they do that on purpose, kind of like to hide personnel. You know what I mean?
Washington's now number 4. They were number 1 for weeks, and New England's now taken over the number 1 spot again. So something happened in Washington. They spent some money.
Yeah, and like I said, I think sometimes teams do that on weekends. Well, because they play on weekends, but I think the offices do it hoping that some other offices aren't working. And
sneaking it by.
Yeah, they might be able to sneak by. We cut this guy, and we'll re-sign him on Monday with a different deal and save some money. You know what I mean? I think,
the whole release and hope that we can pick him back up deal.
Yeah. And I can see that happening on weekends when they're thinking a lot of front offices are taking Saturday and Sunday off.
Each team employs hundreds of people, and I'd hate to think that somebody could sneak one by when there's people watching all the time, and they're used to working weekends too. Like that's when the games happen.
Yeah, but that's what our governments do when they do sneaky shit. They wait till Friday night at 5:30 after all the press people have gone home, and they go, "Oh, we just dropped an atom bomb on Cuba."
There you go. So this week we're talking. We're almost around the compass here. We're talking AFC South. So that means we only have 3 more divisions to cover, which is great.
Yeah. But the AFC South, this has got to be, I would say, tied with the NFC East for one of the more boring.
So I think the NFC East is one of the divisions that I just dislike because you have 2 teams that are just fighting for the division title. Now, the AFC South, I like to call the most mediocre division in football.
There's nobody really stands out. No.
They're all middle of the pack teams. We're going to go over their stats. Let's start with what did we do last week? We went with who's got the least cap space?
No, actually we wound up with who's got the least. We started with who's got the most cap space.
Okay, so most cap space, number 5 in the league is the Tennessee Titans with $30.8 million in cap space.
And they were not very good defensively. I want to say bottom 5 last year.
They were actually 28th offense and 17th defense in the league.
Yeah. So they don't have much cap space. That's a really bad position to be in.
Well, it's interesting because they had some huge signings just in the last week. They signed Mason Rudolph. That's a head scratcher for me, especially when they added Tony Pollard, running back from Dem Boys, right?
Right.
They brought on Calvin Ridley from the Jags, wide receiver.
Somebody from the division. That doesn't happen very often.
No, that was a division trade. I was shocked.
Yeah.
Like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
Why would you trade a good player to your division rival?
Usually,
I don't know.
Usually you do that and you keep it out of the division because you don't want to face the guy twice a year.
Right. So, and then they picked up Super Bowl champion cornerback L'Jarius Sneed on Thursday or Friday.
Everybody needs corners.
Everybody needs corners. The fact that they picked him up is crazy to me because KC franchise tagged him last week.
Really?
Yeah. So they traded him for, I think, like a 7th round in 2025 and 4th round this year or something. And then they have to, of course, pay him because they franchise tagged him, which makes him about $19.5 million a year worth.
So the Chiefs franchise tag him. Snead goes to the main office. He goes, "I'll sit out this year. Trade me." It's got to be what happened.
I don't think guys like to have the franchise tag because they get stuck. They know they're guaranteed 1 year and that's it.
Right, and it's not. It's at the average of the top 5 salaries of that position, and that's what you get if they franchise tag you.
Right. So the Titans actually extended his contract, gave him 3 years.
Oh, good for him, man. You're getting paid.
For a corner, that's 3 years is a lot.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The amount of injuries, yeah.
But everybody needs corners.
Yeah. Yeah, well, the Titans have made some head-scratching moves this offseason in general. I mean, first you get rid of your really good head coach.
Getting rid of Vrabel. I mean, I understand that the team was in shambles, but
Vrabel was the glue, and you let the glue
He wasn't the problem.
No.
I really don't think he was the problem.
And then they said goodbye to King Henry, which that was a contract deal. His contract was up, and they probably went to him and said, "How much do you want?" He said, "I want the world." And they go, "How about just the moon?" He goes, "No, I want the world." And they go, "Okay, we got."
I don't even think it went that far. I think after the words he said at the press conference after they fired Vrabel, I don't think there was any chance of him coming back to the Titans. Right. I think he was pissed.
That was a bad move. And Vrabel, did he get picked up by the Patriots as a consultant or the Browns? The Browns.
Browns as an upper management consultant guy or something. Like he didn't even get a coaching job.
Well, I think that's a signal to the Browns coach that better not have an off year. We got a guy sitting here we're paying already that can do the job.
And I mean, it's good that Vrabel's. I mean, Bill Belichick still doesn't have a chair, which I think is funny. So, because he could go to this division easily.
We're on to unemployment.
I don't think he'd come to this division because this division is pretty mediocre.
It's such a snooze, man. I mean, once you get past, well, okay, that was for the.
That's Tennessee, and I believe they have the best chance this year. And I mean, I could be wrong. We'll find out when the season starts, and after Thanksgiving, that's when things really heat up. But I think by the signings that they have and the draft capital that they have, the Tennessee Titans are currently my leading favorite to win the division.
All right. So who is next?
They're definitely not going to a Super Bowl,
no,
but
I don't see
they are definitely my favorite to win the division. So the number 12 team in the league in salary cap happens to be the Indianapolis Colts with $23 million in cap space.
The Colts have been a head scratcher for a few years now.
So we had them in the Texans. Basically, it came down to week 18, which one was going to the show, right? Like who's going to the playoffs.
Yeah, but then this year they cleaned house.
They did clean house. They got rid of Gardner Minshew.
Gesundheit.
Which is funny because with him at the helm, well, they had that, Anthony Richardson, I think their QB. Who was their QB that went down? He was a rookie QB. He went down. I don't really pay attention to the Colts, so I apologize to anybody that's a Colts fan.
I think it was Richardson who went down like week 2 or week 3.
Week 2 or 3, yeah. And then they had to, lean on Gardner Minshew, who got traded.
Minshew's he's you know what he is? He's the Fitzpatrick of this decade.
Yeah, he's the QB journeyman in the NFL right now.
Yeah.
They were ranked surprisingly 15th in offense, but 24th in defense.
And then, like I said, since the Tony Dungy days, they've kind of been a head scratcher. It's like they don't have any identity,
I mean, soon as Peyton went to the Broncos,
right.
It's like they just don't have anything. They did pick up Joe Flacco.
But then they had Luck for a while, and they looked like maybe they were developing an identity, and they're going to make a long run. And then Luck says, "Yeah, I'm going to go watch cars."
Yeah. So Joe Flacco, 1-year deal. They picked him up. That was one guy that we thought was going to get a deal like real quick, and they just picked him up this week. He was sitting on the couch again.
Well, it's a comfy couch.
Jeez, he was on our couch, bud. Michael Pittman. They re-signed him to 3 years. They don't really have anything awesome that they picked up in free agency. They just did a lot of like re-signings of what they had, like some edge like Tyquan Lewis, offensive line, Danny Pinter, edge, defensive tackles, linebackers. They just basically re-signed all their guys. Safety Ronnie Harrison just re-signed to a new deal, and punter Rigoberto Sanchez re-signed.
So there's nobody really jumping off the page at you here.
There's nobody that you go, oh wow, what a great move.
Other than maybe Flacco, but
Flacco, and I don't even know how they're going to utilize Flacco. Is he a backup, or are they gonna bridge with him, or are they going into the draft to get another quarterback because the guy that they picked up is made a class?
Yeah, that's
like,
I'm surprised.
I don't understand Indianapolis. They are the Washington Commanders of this division right now.
Yeah, they seem rudderless,
They did have 7 wins, which is kind of shocking, to be honest, of how mediocre this team is.
And the division.
Yeah. Next on the list. Indy, not making playoffs. I don't see them making playoffs.
I don't either.
They need a lot of help in the draft, and I don't think they know what they're doing.
Their front office does seem to be struggling to find it's for some front offices you go, they're good at drafting this, they're good at doing free agents and that, they're good at picking defensive talent. I don't see anything that their front office stands out at. So they're
just the epitome of mediocre is what they are. So I don't see them making the playoffs. Next, number 16 in the salary cap battle here, Number 16th in the league is the team that did make it to the playoffs, the Houston Texans, with $16.9 million in cap space.
I'm interested to see how Stroud does in his sophomore year, because
I agree.
Some quarterbacks, they struggle, and others take off. And I'm curious to what he's going to do. They're a young team.
I don't think he had a lot of offensive weapons. He had a couple. And he used them, and man, does that guy ever got a nice touch on the ball.
He does. He's fun to watch. He's fun to watch play.
Yeah. But I don't think they helped him out a lot with some wide receivers and tight ends. They were 12th overall in offense in the league, which I'm kind of shocked. I mean, he did throw a lot of yards. And they were 14th ranked in defense.
So they were firmly planted in the middle of the road.
They're probably the best team in this division right now.
Yeah, that's fair.
And they are going to probably have to battle the Titans. It's going to be a Week 18 battle. Titans will be visiting the Texans, or the Texans will be visiting the Titans, and whoever wins that game will go to the playoffs.
You think that's the way it's going to go, huh?
I think it's going to come down to another Week 18. I think both these teams are in great form right now, rebuilding wise. Tennessee's making more of a splash because they had to. They gave away everything. They just gave away everything.
Yeah.
Star running back, good head coach. Bye.
See, that's why I don't picture them being there at the end. At the end of the year, I think it's going to come down to Houston and the number 1 team left in the conference here.
I think it's Houston and Tennessee is what it's going to come down to win this division in Week 18. Houston just signed, and good for them getting rid of Deshaun and picking up CJ, because,
Deshaun is just, he's really, he had those flashes, but he can't stay healthy. He can't stay on the field.
And they still have draft capital because of that trade. So they actually got a couple extra picks this year because of that trade. So they're building a contender. They just picked up edge Daniel Hunter from the Vikings. That was the guy we talked about during our NFC North discussion. And I said, this is a guy that they're going to need to re-sign. But we didn't know that the Vikings were also going to clear house at that time.
Yeah, they kind of threw in the towel.
They didn't have to. They weren't over cap or anything. I don't know what happened there. Ever since they lost Kirk, and all of a sudden they were just like, yeah, we don't have a team anymore. Just let them have whatever they want. Like, they just gave up. They rolled over.
What I think is going on there is they're going to try and draft a young quarterback and start from scratch and start building up with a young quarterback and Jefferson, at wide receiver, and try and rebuild that way.
Good luck, because I don't think they pick until the middle of the pack. I don't think there's any good quarterbacks left by then.
No. And we had 4 quarterbacks have their pro day this week. So that the guy out of USC that everybody seems to want. Do you see what his measurements were?
I had paid no attention to that stuff this week.
5'11" 3/4. The last two quarterbacks that height and shorter to win a Super Bowl, Drew Brees and Russell Wilson.
Wow. I didn't think they made short quarterbacks anymore.
Yeah, me either. And
it's hard to throw over 6'5", 6'6" defensive linemen that have giant wingspans when you're only like 5 foot fuck all.
Yeah. I'm remembering Doug Flutie. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he spent a lot of time up here.
Yeah, he did. And he needed a little stepladder to see over the line. So I'm kind of hoping they go J.J. McCarthy now, but that's just me.
Michigan, yeah.
So
they also did. Houston also did pick up Joe Mixon from the Bengals, running back.
That's a good pickup.
That's a good pickup. And I can't remember what the Bengals did. We've already talked about them, so whatever. It's, as I said, it's musical chairs, and it's really hard to keep track of what the hell is going on in this league. As soon as that March 13th window opened.
Right. Yeah. No,
it was like, here, let us scramble your brain for you. These are the 27,000 transactions that happened today. So just looking at what Houston did in free agency, they picked up Joe Mixon, Noah Brown. He re-signed wide receiver. He was excellent for CJ as a target.
Right. They had some good chemistry.
They re-signed Dalton Schultz, tight end. Bunch of offensive tackle and defensive line guys. As I mentioned, Hunter from the Vikings, they signed him to a 2-year, $49 million deal.
That's not bad. That's not bad at all.
He played really, really well.
He did.
And the Vikings were silly to let him go, but I think maybe they couldn't afford him.
I was going to say, I think they're in a little bit of salary hurt, right?
They signed a 3-year deal with linebacker Azeez Al-Sher. $34 million. And then you're gonna love this one. You ready?
Yeah.
Who needs corners? Because
everybody needs corners.
Yeah, well, they're not going to get them unless they make moves with the Texans, because the Texans brought Mike Ford, signed a 2-year deal worth $4.5 million. C.J. Henderson signed a 1-year deal. Lonnie Johnson signed a 1-year contract. Desmond King II re-signed with the Texans. No numbers on that. And Jeff Okudah signed a one-year $4.25 million. So that is 5 corners total that the Texans.
I'm going to go out on a limb here, Adam. I think the Texans GM might be listening to the show.
He's listening to the show. He's like, yeah, you know what? Everybody needs corners. We're going to just grab them all.
Adam and Terry are smart. We better get more corners down here.
They also picked up safety Eric Murray, who could double as a corner, really, to be honest.
Like a nickel type, right?
Yeah, he re-signed with the Texans, so their defense is pretty stout. I mean,
their defense
they made
was pretty
some
good
moves
last year. It was pretty good last year. Sounds like all they did was improve.
Yeah, and they re-signed their punter, who's one of my favorite names to say because it just sounds like he should be a rock star. Tommy Townsend.
Tommy Townsend, yeah, from the Who.
Yeah, he's. It's like my favorite punter name in the league. So they re-signed him for a 1-year deal by the looks of it. And kicker, I can't pronounce this guy's first name. It's Kaimi, I think. Fairbairn.
Yeah, Fairbairn. That sounds like a good Canadian name there. Yeah, that's a Fairbairn. Yeah,
that's a Fairbairn right there. Yeah. Oh yeah, bud.
Yeah, the Fairbairn. He came across the blue line in a hurry there, didn't he?
Almost lost his chicklets. So that only leaves us with one team, and that's the biggest offender of the salary cap in this division, actually at number 20. So we went from number 5 to number 20, so only 15 spots difference between these teams. Jacksonville Jaguars, $11 million in salary cap. Their offense was 13th overall, and their defense was 22nd.
Yeah, they need help on defense, but I mean Trevor Lawrence seems to be the real deal. So that seems to be helping them a lot, that they know they can rely on the offense to carry the load. But, yeah, you got to stop people.
I feel like he had an off year.
Yeah, he did. But you got to stop people once in a while, too.
And there's also no Calvin Ridley anymore to throw to.
Yeah, that's going to be a big adjustment for him because that was his go-to guy.
But they did sign Mac Jones.
Yay.
I mean, how excited would you be as going from a starting QB? I mean, he wasn't anything spectacular. And I mean, I have different opinions that we could talk about for hours on how the Patriots ruined Mac Jones or how Mac Jones was a spoiled little brat and ruined things for the Patriots and vice versa. It just wasn't a good fit. But how would you feel being a starter for a team that won 6 Super Bowls? And not that you won one, but a team, the legacy right there.
Right,
you're starting quarterback for the New England Patriots. Holy shit. And then now you have to back up Trevor Lawrence.
Still one of the best head coaches in all of NFL history, right? And now you're back up for Trevor Lawrence. And I wasn't a fan of Mac Jones. I thought he was a dirty player.
No.
I saw some stuff after the whistle that I thought was questionable, and that always bothered me.
And we talk about that shit all the time off mic too. So also, remember what I said when the Bills had their big house cleaning party and they got rid of like 11 players in like one day?
Right, and they brought like 5 of them back the next day on different contracts?
Yeah, they brought them back on different contracts. Well, center Mitch Morse did not return, and he did get signed by the Jacksonville Jaguars.
That's a good pickup because he was a good center.
Yeah, Jesus. Josh Allen must be like shitting bricks because... Yeah,
his main blocking guy is gone.
That's his main guy, right?
Yeah.
Like he protected. And speaking of Josh Allen,
he doesn't know whose buddy's going to be fondling next year, and that can be a problem.
The other Josh Allen received the non-exclusive franchise tag for the Jaguars.
What did he play? I forgot.
He's edge rusher for. It's funny because I watched Bills versus Jags, and it was like Josh Allen's going for Josh Allen, and I was just like, what the fuck is going on?
Oh my god!
I was like, there's two Josh Allens. Oh my god, I forgot about this.
He's become psychotic.
The fact that he's an edge rusher and he had to play against a QB named Josh Allen, exact same spelling and everything.
Yeah.
So they paid him.
They're about the same. They're about the same size too.
So they paid him $24 million on the non-exclusive franchise tag, which basically means another team can pick him up,
but they have to pay him more.
But they have to pay him more.
That's the rub. They have to pay him more.
And then
and Jacksonville gets a chance to match if they want.
Yeah, they have the right of first refusal, sort of situation. So that's interesting. A couple good pickups for them was Mitch Morse, and the big one that this is even bigger than Buffalo, man. Defensive lineman Eric Armstead from the San Francisco 49ers signed a 3-year deal with them, up to $51 million.
Wow, that's a good signing. That's a good signing there.
That's a really good signing for them if he stays healthy. I mean, defensive guys. I think he will. I think he will. He's shown no like cracks, chinks in the armor, I guess, so to speak.
And that's their weakness is stopping people. So yeah, good for them.
And they brought back Darby on corner, signed another free agent deal with them, and that's pretty much it for them. Now, what do they need to do? They need weapons, man.
They need somebody for.
They brought in Gabe Davis from the Buffalo Bills too. Wide receiver. He signed a 3-year, $39 million deal. That was last week.
He didn't do much while he was in Buffalo, though. So maybe some changing surroundings will.
Because Diggs, and then Josh Allen, the tank, was always running the ball, right?
Allen liked his tight end too. If it wasn't Diggs, it was a tight end. So
yeah, Dawson Knox, and then they had the other guy, the other tight end too, Kincaid. They had two really good tight ends in Buffalo. Yeah, which I think they still do, right?
Right, and that's It was either going to be Diggs or the tight end. That was the way it was going to go.
So Gabe Davis was a good pickup, and Devin Duvernay signed a free agent deal with them as well. So they've got some wide receivers. I don't know what they're looking like. I guess we should probably just pull this shit up on NFL draft order this year, because these guys are all making up. They're throwing picks around like crazy for these free agents, right? So Carolina went to Chicago, so they got the first overall pick. Then we got Washington, New England, Arizona, Chargers, Giants, Tennessee's at number 7.
I'm not a big fan of draft speculation, but I would not be a bit surprised to see the Patriots or the Washington trade with Chicago for that number 1 pick overall.
You think so?
Yeah, I really do. Because
I don't think either of these teams. Like you look at all 3 of the top 3 quarterbacks. All these teams are going to want a quarterback. Chicago has said so by dealing Fields to the Steelers.
Right.
Washington really didn't have anybody there.
No.
And they dealt Sam Howell away. So they need a quarterback. So Washington says, hey, we need a quarterback. And then New England played the whole like Jacoby Brissett's back for 1-year deal. So they're saying, hey, we're drafting a quarterback because we just canned Mac.
Right.
So all 3 of these teams are saying, hey, we're drafting a quarterback. And if they don't, they're fucked.
No, yeah, they're absolutely fucked. I mean, if any one of those 3 teams goes, let's say defensive end, they're fucked.
Like, You can't play an entire season with Jacoby Brissett.
Nope.
As like you need to have something like Jacoby Brissett's another one of these journeyman quarterbacks. He's already done a stint with New England.
So, but like I said, just because all 3 of them need quarterbacks and all 3 of them are in the top 3, I wouldn't be surprised to see a little horse trading going on there, or for somebody to pick up more draft picks in later rounds.
Maybe, because
the way
who knows? Maybe they all come to an agreement, and there's like, hey, guess what? We won't pick this guy if you give us the second pick, Washington.
Right, exactly.
And then you can have him at 3, and then we get an extra draft pick for you from the 7th round or some shit, right?
Because the way things are currently going, the Bears have no day 3 draft picks. They've traded them all.
No. No, but they got 2 day ones.
Yeah.
So
2 day ones.
that's good.
And, yeah.
That's good. They can make a good splash there. So Tennessee's the first one in this division to draft at 7. Indy comes in at 15. Jacksonville at 17. And Houston at 27. That's their first pick. It was a trade with the Cardinals, and I think that was for Dalton Schultz.
That 7 pick, that's right in the area where I expect Marvin Harrison Jr. to go. Is it between 4 and 8? So if he's on the board,
I expect him to go top 5 for sure.
Yeah, between 4 and 8. But if he's still on the board, and you better grab him, Tennessee.
So I know we've gotten kind of off topic because we're looking at draft, but draft speculation. We got 32 days until the draft. So it's probably good to talk about it a little bit. Arizona's at number 4, by the way. I knew that. And what do you do? Because their quarterback, they have problems with Kyler Murray. They do. He would rather be playing Xbox than playing football. He's got the raw talent, but he doesn't have the desire to put in the extra work. He's pulling a little Deshaun. Yeah. Oh, I'm hurt. Yeah. When you're not really hurt. A lot of speculation there. So does Arizona draft a quarterback? There's 4 or 5 there's 5 decent QBs that could go in the top 10 for sure. Yeah, so possible. So back to I guess we should look at speculation on all of these anyway, because we are counting down to draft day. But what does Jacksonville need to do? Okay, do you think they had a bad season? Because the season before they actually did make the playoffs. They didn't make the playoffs, but I think that was because the defense couldn't stop anybody. There was a couple of games where they'd had decent leads, and they just, they puked it out in the second half. So I think Jacksonville doesn't pick till 17. They need help on the defensive side of the ball, though. I mean, they're 22nd in defense, so. Yeah, so just to go on back to the draft top 5. You're right, Terry. They've got Chicago, Washington, and New England mock drafting the top 3 QBs right now. JJ McCarthy's not on that list, by the way. No. Most people don't like him because he played for the same head coach for 4 years. They call him a system guy. Yeah. And I guess he's a little on the thin side outside of the uniform. He's not, one of those really big stat guys. However, he's 6'3", so. They got Arizona slated to pick up Marvin Harrison Jr., so I'm wrong on the QB thing. I could be right. Who knows? We won't know till draft day. Right. Draft speculation is one of the things that drives me the craziest in that. And the Chargers are going to pick up a wide receiver, the other guy, Malik Neighbors. But yeah, that's what they've got right now. I'm going to look at the big board right now just to see what they're thinking for overall picks. They think Caleb Williams is going to go 1, and of course we knew that because they just keep talking about him in every news outlet. Right, and that's another reason why I would not be surprised to see the Bears trade for the number 2 or the number 3 pick, because that number 1. They do have Marvin Harrison Jr. going at 2, though. That's kind of fun. Yeah, but who all 3 of those teams need somebody to throw the ball to him. So it all depends on what they need come. Do you draft somebody like Marvin Harrison Jr.? Let's say the Commanders draft him. So does Washington sit down and say, "Listen, I know it's going to be a little rough on you this year, but your dad didn't meet Peyton until his second year in the league, and can you just hold on for me for 1 year, and next year we'll draft you a big stud QB?" Can you have that conversation with them? Well, let's look at the second round and see what this division's got. So we've got Tennessee at 38 and Houston at 42. That was a trade with Minnesota, by the way. Probably had something to do with that deal that they picked up Hunter on, because I don't recall that one before. But as I said, it's like a fucking roller coaster trying to keep track of this shit right now. Well, Jacksonville again at 48. That's kind of something. They could. I wouldn't want to call it a full rebuild, but they can do a soft rebuild on the defense side of the ball if they wanted to with their draft picks. It sounds like Houston again at 59. They get to pick 2 on day 2. That's pretty good. That's from Cleveland. I bet that's that because they got a bunch of 1s and a bunch of 2s when they did the trade with Cleveland. Yeah. So, Yeah, and then third round we've got we don't have a lot of action here. Third round wise, it looks like Tennessee made a trade with Arizona. That's probably for a tight end or something. I'm looking and I'm not seeing any action for this division on. Oh, there's Houston trade with Philadelphia, so they have the 86th overall pick. And Jacksonville at 96. So there's really nothing happening here on the third round for this division. Just one pick for two teams.
Well,
so there's been some trades.
There's been some horse trading going on.
There's been some trades, and then we get back to kind of the normal 4th, 5th, and 6th round stuff. You know, there's the trade for San Francisco forfeited their 130th overall pick because of that accounting error that we were talking about last week.
That's unfortunate.
The Jets, kind of funny, have the last 2 picks of the draft. That's funny.
They get Mr. Irrelevant and the penultimate Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah, it just seems very fitting for the Jets. So I just wanted to throw that in there. It's just like, oh, that's a very Jets thing to do. Take the last 2. It would be funnier if it was the last 3.
Yeah.
But yeah, last 2. So overall, these guys don't have a lot of picks. They've done a lot of trading by the looks of it through free agency. Who's the team to look out for? I still think it's the Texans, and the Titans are going to fight it out. But Jacksonville could make it a 3-way race. I think Indy has no chance of. I think they're the bottom team in this division this year.
I do too. I
even with Flacco, even if Flacco takes the reins for the year, he does throw quite a bit of picks.
But I don't see the Titans being there at the end. I just don't, because they like I said, they're new head coach, new quarterback, no running back. They're good. I don't picture them. I think
it could be a Jacksonville Texans situation.
Yeah, that fits better in my brain than Titans.
Mac Jones, that's that's a strike through. Like as long as Trevor Lawrence stays healthy, we're never going to see him play. Mitch Morse for center. I mean, that's a huge pickup for them.
That is.
Little extra padding for Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
And that boy can throw a ball too. So if he's got some extra time,
he's got nice touch when he throws the ball, man. He reads really well and reacts really well. So that's a huge pickup for them, man. That's a huge pickup.
Overall, though, I think this division is still mediocre. It is one of the more kind of mundane divisions in the league. But next week, we're going to talk about the NFC South, which is whoever wins 8 games in that division.
Holy cow. The NFC's got 2 of the worst divisions in all of football. They got the NFC East and the NFC South.
Yeah, and I mean, this is the mediocre division. The NFC West is kind of the hot division.
Yeah, it is. That's true.
So, yeah, I mean, we haven't had a lot to talk about on the NFC side yet.
Well, that's because we're doing it next week. This week is all AFC, baby.
Yeah, AFC. We have one more AFC left to talk about, and that's the AFC West, which I think will be our second last one. But next week we talk about the NFC South, which will, basically look at the battle between what the hell's going to happen there. It's usually like the Bucs and the Saints trying to win a division, and now enter the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah.
Just like our intro.
Yeah.
The Atlanta Falcons.
Mo Sislak's favorite team,
Yeah. So so that'll be an interesting discussion next week, and I'll have a whole bunch more stats on their cap issues, their free agency signings. That's the wonderful thing about doing this week in and week out. The division that we covered last is the most complete podcast that we do, because basically all the free agents will have dried up by then.
Right. We'll have up-to-date information on that very last one, right?
Yeah, we'll have all the information, and yeah, so that's an interesting one. Let's have a look at any NFL news. I don't think there's anything really notable.
No, my phone has been very quiet this week when it comes to NFL. So
we got a couple coaches talking about how great their teams are going to be. Raiders, Bills, and Jets all saying that their teams are going to be awesome this year. And the Commanders, because they got Dan Quinn as head coach now. But that's pretty much it. There's not a lot of news. We covered all the free agency stuff. It's kind of it's tampered down quite a bit. That first 2 days was just I couldn't focus.
No, it was insane the first 2 days, and then the league's legal tampering period got a little out of hand with all the, so and so expects to sign with, and such expects to sign with, and
there was so much news coming through that I didn't know how to do my job. I didn't know how to cook dinner. I didn't know when bedtime was. I just, it was just like everything was just like, oh, there's another. My phone was just blowing up with notifications, just like, oh, another deal. One went off once, and it showed me 5 free agent trades in one shot, and I was like, holy shit, that all happened in like 30 minutes.
Yeah, it was more. There was more going on this year than usually happens. I'm quite shocked about that, to be honest. All right, have we covered everything?
We've gotten all of our teams. We covered the Titans, the Colts, the Texans, the Jags, and you and I both believe that it might be a Jags versus Texans battle for the division, and I still think the Titans are my favorite just by their free agency moves. Who knows?
Well, no, we'll have to wait and see, but I think we're pretty much in agreement.
I'm going to flip back and forth so many times because there's going to be so many more deals and stuff that come out.
Yeah, I know. Me too, dude. And I don't think draft position is going to affect standings a whole lot, but there's the potential. We're going to talk about that.
The Titans have a 7 pick. That's the only thing that can make a dent.
Yeah. Okay, I guess that's for my broadcast partner, the ever affable and effervescent Adam Whitehall. Adam, how do the boys and girls find us?
Oh, yeah, just look in the episode description, and we'll have a link to our link tree with all the goods and our socials and our podcasts and all that stuff. Linktree/Straight Off the Couch. Straight Off the Couch.
So, anybody who's been listening and sticking with us throughout this after football hangover, thank you very much. We appreciate it. For my broadcast partner, Adam, it's, of course, me. Be safe. God bless everybody. Have a safe and happy week. We'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.